a week for QPR. We didn't just finally get one home win that we all longed for. We got two following up the win against Norwich with another home win and a clean sheet against Oxford. We'll be previewing the trip to Bristol City later, but first we're getting some live reaction here because Dave was literally sat in Loftus Road a little over an hour ago. So sum up your evening for us, Dave.
Yeah, it was a good evening. I mean, it didn't feel like it was going to be this good by half time. I thought we were dreadful first half, to be honest. We just started so poorly and, we just looked awful first half. And it was like, oh, it's going to be another one of them games where we're going to waste an opportunity against a team around us. But we were saying during the first half, if we could get in at half time 0-0, I fancied us to be better second half and take control. And we did that when Oxford missed a golden opportunity first half not to get rid of us, get a goal, at least a goal in front. And second half, we were miles better. And once we got one in front, we fully deserved a win. I thought we were really good after that. Could have won by a few more. And the turnaround's incredible, isn't it? I mean, you think we were sat here 3-4 weeks ago, like we're doomed, we're going down. Where's the next goal coming from? And they've kept what 4 clean sheets in a row and won three out of four. It's unbelievable, really, how they've turned this around so quickly. You just can't predict anything anymore with this club.
Definitely. If someone goes back now and watches one of our shows from just even a month ago, they're going to be like, is this the
Yeah,
same club that they're talking about? Yeah. As for the match, it won't live long in the memory of the first half, like you say, but thankfully it doesn't need to. Second half, much more positive. Some of it was quite basic. It was just getting the ball and running at them, driving at them, pushing them back. We kept recycling the ball and we reaped the rewards for that. And it was one of those matches where Oxford only had one win in 13 coming into it, no away win. It was one of those with like alarm bells ringing, disaster waiting to happen. So it was a good sign that we got over the line, and it was our first back-to-back wins of the season, not just at home. And we've always been a bit like a broken record on these shows, saying that you just need back-to-back wins. Anytime you can get that in this league, it pretty much like feels like it changes the season, and that's what you're alluding to there. We're now only 1 point off 14th place. We're as close to the top half as the bottom of the table. Just such a huge swing from where we were just a few weeks ago, even I think 3 weeks ago, chatting before the Stoke game. And as for the match, it was obviously Samfield who scored both goals. I saw a few question marks before the game actually saying whether he should come back in after his game out suspended. It was perhaps harsh to drop Morgan after he'd been involved in a 3-0 win. But Samfield, he more than justified his selection, didn't he?
yeah, definitely. I mean, Morgan was excellent on the weekend, and I do agree it was going to be harsh to drop him, but you have to bring Field back in. He was really good at Watford, and he was really good tonight. Like the rest of the team, he was not great first half, but he just got, it's not often he gets in those positions to score goals, but he took them both so well. And I thought the first goal, has to be said, a lovely header from Collie. That was just going out, and he rose really high, and he had the intelligence to knock it back into play rather than just across the box. He put it back into field, and he finished it really well. And the second goal was a lovely finish. He's got that in him. He's done it a few times last year, and his goal scoring has got better. But it's lovely to have options, isn't it? You've had the last couple of weeks where it's like, well, we know what the team is. That's it. Now you've got options. You've got Field or Morgan in midfield. You can swap it around weekend as well. Chair come back tonight. Having options is, it can only help the team.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Samfield is actually really good at breaking into the box, and I can think of a few
Mm.
cases last season where he was missing chances late in games. He'd come in and he was always just
Yeah.
side footing them straight at the goalkeeper. So to see him put one in the bottom corner with his weaker foot to seal the game, lovely jubbly. And I think maybe with Ran sitting deeper, it's kind of enabling him to do that now. He feels maybe more confident that he can move forward. And I think it was Mick Beale, wasn't it? Sorry to mention him, but he wanted Field to play further forward when he
Yeah.
first came in, and now he's maybe able to do that. And we have to mention the defense. You said before, but it's the first time in 11 years we've kept 4 clean sheets in a row, 6 clean sheets in the last 9 games. In your opinion, why are we now so much better defensively compared to even just a month or so ago when there were some matches where we were just happy to keep the score down?
I think it's the whole team. It's not just the back four. He's changed how the whole team are playing. We're a lot more like we were last year. We're a lot more compact all over the field. We're making it hard for teams to play through us. We were so wide open. That Middlesbrough game a little while ago, they scored four. They could have scored 10. Really, we were wide open all over the place. But we're not anymore. There's no big gaps in the team. They're working really well. The midfield are working a lot better. I'm going to say Madsen's been a lot better. He's been putting himself about a bit more, and he wasn't doing that a few weeks ago. it just makes it easier for the back four. The back four are not defending all the time, not sat in their own box trying to hang on, and we look a lot better. And I think the last two games they haven't really conceded that many chances. To be honest, I don't remember. I thought Oxford were better first half, but didn't have a lot of chances from what I can remember. And the keeper, Nardi, didn't have a lot to do. But yeah, I think as the whole team have been defensively so much better, and well, they've got to continue that going forward.
Yeah, hopefully they will have an eye. Like you say, it's very much going back to what he was doing last season, and it's actually what we read about Marty Cifuentes when he was appointed at the time. How he's happy to let teams have the ball out wide. He crowds the center of the
Yeah,
pitch, and it is now just hard to get through us. Like you're right about the stats with the shots on target. Oxford had one, Norwich had one or two. That's you're going to be competitive in games, and that's what we needed to
yeah,
do. I feel they've got a much better balance as well. I mean, I know we're giving away a lot of possession. Even against Oxford, we were happy to let them have 60% of the ball, but it just seems to suit us and it's given us a better platform to build on. Because even when we're not playing well, it's 0-0. And a couple of months ago, we would have been 2-0 down, and that's the difference. Even like the first half against Oxford, it's a prime example. We would have been behind in that game, but now we're not, and we can attack the second half. We're also being more clinical. I know the defense is getting we're talking about that, but our XG's actually been lower in the last few games. It was much higher against Stoke and Watford when we only drew, but we're just taking our chances in games, and it makes the world of difference. A quick word on Oxford, though, before we move on. Do you think they're set for a hard winter?
yeah. I thought they were poor, to be honest. We were terrible first half, and if you're not getting ahead against how badly we were first half, then you're in trouble. And they're not on the best of runs. I thought their best player was probably Matt Phillips, and they took him off for some reason. I didn't really get why he went off. Yeah, they look in a lot of trouble. But I mean, it's hard to say. We looked in a lot of trouble. You looked at us 3 weeks ago, you'd say that they're going down. So it's hard to say with Oxford. They have pulled themselves out before at the start of the season, but yeah, not impressed with them at all tonight.
Yeah, still back-to-back win thing again. If they win the next two, they'll be in a bit
Yeah,
much
it
better
can
place.
change
But
easily. Yeah.
it does look like they were a little bit of a limited side, didn't it? I mean, it's kind of what we
Mm.
said in the preseason preview. Actually, we said they'd start well, but then they wouldn't have the squad depth once injuries kicked in and confidence starts to slip away. And like I say, they did look a limited side, and I would expect them to be now around the bottom three for the remainder of the season. But as for QPR, it's up to 19th, and what a week overall for us. We've actually picked up more points in the last 18 days than we had in the whole first 3.5 months of the season, which just about sums up how hard it is to analyse this club. We just need to hope we can keep moving forward. And next up, it's Bristol City, and it's not hard to see why they're mid-table. Their record before midweek was one, lost, one, lost. That last defeat, a 3-0 humbling away at Portsmouth, which their manager Liam Manning said was a performance that was wrong pretty much everywhere. They did respond in midweek with a decent draw away at Sunderland, but what are your thoughts on Bristol City overall?
I think we said last week about Norwich, they're an odd team, and Bristol City are a mad team. Like, you just don't know what you're going to get from them. They'll win 4-0 one week and then lose the next four games. They're a bizarre team, you know. They've got a lot of ability about them. You know, you look at them on paper and you've seen them in a few games. They could be a really good side, but they can also be atrocious on their day as well. So you just don't know which one's going to turn up weekend. Apart from the obvious Sinclair Armstrong goal at the weekend, I wouldn't know what's going to happen in this one. Anything can happen in this game.
Yeah, Armstrong and Dickey, they've got to be getting a few bets for goals this weekend, haven't they?
Yeah.
Bristol City, they're even in the middle for the goals scored and conceded. 25 scored, 25 conceded. They've not even one of those sides who are strong home, weak away. They're just in the middle, even for those records. Very hard to get a read on them. And they sacked Nigel Pearson last season. I had a look when they were 15th. They had 18 points from 14 games at that point. This season, after 14 games, they had 19 points, pretty much the same. And after 20 games where they are right now, it's the same 26 points they had last season. And they're one of those clubs that have been at this level for a long time. They actually got promoted from League One as QPR came down from the Premier League. We've both been stuck here ever since. They've invested heavily. We've obviously seen it ourselves. They've taken Rob Dickey from us, Sinclair Armstrong from us, but they seem to be finding it hard to go to that next level. They don't really ever progress, do they?
Yeah, I mean, I fancied them this year to do quite well and push for the playoffs, but it hasn't really happened for them. They've got the ability to do it, and they're still. I don't think the playoffs is out of reach for them this year. You know, it's a bit of an open league this season, but they need to get going soon because like you said, they've been in this league a long time. They've never really threatened the playoffs too often. They're always around mid-table, similar to us, and don't do a lot with it. And they've spent a lot of money. And you think that's going to, if they can't, what they've done in recent years is they've been able to sell people and reinvest it. And you look at them in a minute, I'm not sure there's many there they could sell and get big money for and do it again. So they kind of need to improve a little bit this season. It's probably disappointment for them so far.
Yeah, I just think it's a tough job for anyone who's going in there because they just seem to not be able to make that next step.
Mm.
And I think I probably speak for most of us when I say when you're doing like pre-season predictions, Bristol City just don't feature anywhere because you don't feature them when you're thinking of teams for the top. You don't really feature them for anyone going down. Even their average possessions in the middle at 49%, they're just going to be mid-table all season. I think you've already mentioned Sinclair Armstrong. There's been a noticeable dip in his involvement. He started 8 of the first 9 games of the season, but then he started against Sunderland in midweek. That was his first start since early October. So he had over 2 months without starting. What did you make of his move there and how he's done so far?
Yeah, I mean, I'm disappointed that he left us. I mean, I do like Armstrong. I think he's got a lot of potential, and he still has it. But with the money they got for him and the last year of his contracts, they kind of had to sell. Really, it was a bit of a no-brainer for the club. I don't blame the club for getting rid and taking the money. Um, in I say he's got a lot of potential. He needs to start fulfilling it soon. He's had what 3 years at this level now, and he hasn't got a lot of goals from it so far. He's explosive and he's exciting to watch. And if it all clicks one day, he's going to be a hell of a player. But whether it does click or not, I don't know. I think I read someone last year said they wouldn't be surprised in 5 years if he's in the Champions League or if he's in non-league. Neither scenario would surprise you with him. And it's still kind of the same now. He started all right at Bristol City, but quickly he's kind of not involved anymore. And you've got people like Naki Wells ahead of him now who, I mean, Naki Wells is probably he's still a good player, but you'd think Armstrong will be replacing him rather than the other way round. Um, but I mean, he's a threat to us at the weekend, isn't he? Let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, he started on Wednesday night, like I just said. So it's whether he's going to be on the bench on Saturday, but I'm sure he'll want to be starting the game. And we're all going to be very worried whenever he does appear on the pitch. I always think it's alarming when someone, a young prospect like Armstrong, wants to leave QPR, but there's nothing so far to suggest he's gone to the next level. I know it's only early in his career there, but he's kind of been subbed when he starts. He gets subbed on the hour mark.
Yeah.
And when he's been utilised then after that, similar to us last season, where he just comes on maybe for them the last 15, 20 minutes. So he's probably a little bit disappointed himself with how it's gone so far. And we just need to hope he's still disappointed on Saturday night. For QPR, it's another week where we're played on a Wednesday night and then it's an early Saturday kickoff, whereas Bristol City played on Tuesday, albeit this time they were away at Sunderland. So it maybe evens it out a little bit with the travelling they've had to do. We've had another injury update for QPR this week. Michael Frey and Jake Clark-Salter. It suggested they could be back for Preston next week, but the new name on the injury list out long term is Jan Seller. You have to feel for him, Dave, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, he'd finally got them goals at Cardiff, and I thought he did well against Watford. And then you knew straight away the way he went down, it was a bad one. And I think he's going to be out for quite a while. And it's got to be so frustrating for him. He's finally got himself going, and now he's going to be out for a long time. And it's just our luck, really. And you look at it, we said at the start of the season, it was mad to go into it with two strikers. And it looks an even madder decision now when they basically got no one. And they're lucky that Collie was available and able to come on at the weekend. But even when he come off tonight, you had Alfie Lloyd as a winger playing up front. They're so short of forwards. And, to be without them, you would think Sellers out for at least 2-3 months if he's torn his hamstring. We're all positive at the minute because we won a few games, but it's not good for us long term. It leaves us very short up front.
Yeah, it's cruel timing for him personally. Marty Cifuentes said that himself. But hamstring injuries, everyone knows in football, they're never easy to get full confidence back quickly. We saw it with
Yeah,
Chris Willock. He suffered with his hamstrings for pretty much the whole time he was here. Could be something that niggles Seller now for a long time. And we'll have to be careful when he returns. And you wonder if it could actually be next season now before he's both fully fit and able to show his best again. So it's just awful timing. And you use the right word. We're kind of lucky that we've got some young talent that's come to the
yeah,
fore and actually proving themselves because it's a little bit sink or swim sometimes. And You go back 6 months, I don't think any of us expected to be having Alfie Lloyd around the first team. We're lucky they have come to the fore and are performing well enough when they're in the team. And there were a few other question marks this week over the team selection ahead of the Bristol City match. Certainly more question marks than we've had in recent weeks. And one of them is up front, because would you choose Coley, who's done a lot of running this week, having not featured previously, or would you be starting Alfie Lloyd away from home?
Yeah, it's a difficult one. You think at Bristol City, you're probably going to play on the break a little bit more, let him have the ball. So Lloyd could be one to start. I thought he did quite well when he come on, just running around and closing things down, really. He does offer a bit of pace on the break. But Colley's been really good. You know, he not just his goals at the weekend. I think he's played really well the last few games. Like I said, really intelligent. You know, header back for the first Sam field goal. You know, could easily have just been put it in an area and hope for the best. But he knew what he was doing, and he's definitely got something about him, Colley. You know, I'd probably start him again. You know, it's a massive opportunity for him. You know, it's a blow for us that Sellers out for so long, but what a chance that Colley's got that he could get a long run in the side now. You know, and he could really take this opportunity.
Yeah, definitely, especially with the fixtures coming thick and fast over Christmas.
Yeah,
Both Coley and Lloyd are probably going to get more chances. I'd go with Coley again for this one and do the same as against Oxford. Just take him off maybe after an hour once he's out of air, and let Lloyd chase him around for the last half an hour. Another question mark is going to be around Nicholas Madsen. It looks like he'll be a doubt. Took a hefty knock to his knee.
yeah.
He tried to carry on, but he looked like he was really struggling, could barely walk off, I thought. Would you expect Anderson or Ilias Chairs now back? Which one would you replace him with?
Yeah, probably Anderson. You'd think Chera still be coming off the bench. It's a shame. Again, like Seller, Madsen's been better the last few games, so hopefully he's not out for too long and can get back in. But I'll be surprised if he's available by the weekend from that. So I'd probably go Anderson. At least he's been playing more lately, and then keep Chair coming off the bench last 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, hopefully it's just an impact injury, but you still wouldn't want to risk him. They've got a week off after this one.
Yeah.
Not worth taking the risk with how many injuries we've been getting. I agree again. I'd go with Anderson. He's actually looked more composed in his recent cameos, and we don't want to rush Chair back, like you said. It's also a big pitch at Bristol City. Anderson should help give us some more control of the ball. I think the only other thing is maybe Kenneth Pal, if he's fit, we'd expect him to come in for Ashby. Aside from that, I actually can't think of any other changes that you could make. It probably be the same, just trying to get 60, 70 minutes out of the players, especially the likes of Saito and Smith, who are probably going to be tired now. But then, like you say, they can then have a week off. That second goal, though, against Oxford, it really did benefit us because we didn't have to risk Chair for any longer. Smith and Rand had a little bit of a rest towards the end of the game. So that was a positive as well. And it just leaves us with our predictions. Can we carry the momentum to Bristol and come away with a hat trick of wins?
Oh, it'd be brilliant if we could, but I'm going to go with a draw in this one. I think it'd be a tight one. I said they're a bit of a funny side, Bristol City. You don't know what you're going to get with them, but we got a decent record there, and I think we can get another draw, maybe 1-1.
I actually think we can win. I've not been predicting many wins this season, and I know the confidence seems crazy compared to where we were last month, but we just look so much more competitive, confident. We have a good record there as well. We just look a better side, and they aren't exactly in top form as we've already discussed. I do worry about some of the energy levels sapping in the second half in this one. It's been a tough week and probably taken a lot out of them, but if we could keep it tight, I think we could nick it 1-0. I'm going for the same as last season. Fingers crossed we can do that. And there's no midweek match next week. So Dave and I will be back next week, towards the end of next week, to preview the home match against Preston, which kickstarts a rush of fixtures over Christmas. And let's just hope we continue to enjoy it as much as we've all enjoyed the last week. Come on, you R's.